Hi, welcome to Talking and Reading from Japan. I'm your host, Hidemi Woods. Here, I'll read part of my books I wrote and talk about it or anything I feel like talking to you. I hope you enjoy with me. Today, I'll read one of my memoirs titled The Girl in Kyoto. This memoir of mine is introduced my actual memories of my childhood, and everything in it actually happened to me. It's not a fiction, and it's everything happened to me exactly as it is written. And today I'll read one of the episodes of my childhood. And today's episode is called My Grandfather's Chrysanthemums. Today's episode is My Grandfather's Chrysanthemums. It's about, today's episode is about our family's disrupted life by my grandfather's chrysanthemums. My grandfather's chrysanthemums. My home where I spent my childhood had a front yard that was larger than the house itself. My grandfather was absorbed in growing chrysanthemums in the yard, and there were over 600 chrysanthemum pots. Our yard was literally packed with his chrysanthemums. He even built a vinyl hothouse in the yard to take care of them in the wintertime. Chrysanthemums were all over the place, and they had pretty much disrupted the family members' lives, including mine. Whenever a typhoon approached, my grandfather would order my father to bring his chrysanthemums into the house and the garage. Whenever a display takes place, my father would load and carry the chrysanthemums for my grandfather into an amusement park or a botanical garden by his truck. When I wanted to have a dog, my grandfather didn't allow me because it would ravage his chrysanthemums. I resisted and said it was unfair that he could keep so many chrysanthemums while I couldn't keep one dog. He told me it was totally fair because this was his house, not mine. My father felt pity for me and made a playing space on the rooftop of the garage when we rebuilt the house. My sister and I got our small yard, but my grandfather's chrysanthemum pots had gradually crept up, and soon the rooftop was also occupied with them. I was playing by the row of chrysanthemum pots in the yard one day and carelessly broke a sprig. I was terrified, as it meant a death penalty for me. I couldn't even imagine how furious my grandfather would get. I was no George Washington and hid away the broken sprig. Although I spent dreadful hours, my grandfather, to my surprise, wasn't so angry with me when he found it. He could have ranted and raved, considering his devotion to the chrysanthemums. I still wonder why he could have forgiven me. That was today's episode. My grandfather was a dictator or a king of my family. He ruled a tight reign over us, other family members, and we acted as if we were all his servants, not his family, because he was so strict and scary. So no one in my family talked him back. We just followed his instructions or his rules quietly, and nodding our heads whatever he told us unreasonable things. We were all yes men, yes persons to him. And especially my family was a farmer, and when I was really little, my parents were working on the field. Our family had fields. We had 2 lots or 3, couple of fields near the house. So they were farming out there with my grandfather, and my grandmother was staying at home to take care me and later my sister. And my grandmother was doing those domestic tasks, and I was raised by my grandmother. And then my grandfather was getting older, so he kind of retired from the farming work, and my parents went to the fields for farming, and my grandfather began his hobby of growing chrysanthemums. And that was the start of the problem. He really devoted his passion into chrysanthemums. And so we, other members of his family, were all his servants, and as his servants, we just cooperate. We just had to cooperate his growing of chrysanthemums. So we were lower than his chrysanthemums as a living status. And so my grandfather treasured all his chrysanthemums. there were quite a various different kinds of chrysanthemums all over our yard. And he picked the best ones to display, to show his best work, every possible opportunity. So he around Kyoto area, he just displayed his chrysanthemums pretty much everywhere that had chrysanthemum displays. So his chrysanthemums were all over my place, and also the main botanical display places. And especially my father, he was Smithers to my grandfather, as in The Simpsons, and he just followed my grandfather's instructions obediently, and my father did everything as my grandfather told him to do, including his own life choices. And so, especially for his chrysanthemums, my father had to walk around for my grandfather, because my grandfather didn't have a driver's license. So my father had to move around had to carry his chrysanthemums to anywhere my grandfather told him to go for the displays. And especially when a typhoon or the storm approached, the big fuss occurred in my family, because my grandfather was nearly panicking about how to save his chrysanthemums, how to keep his chrysanthemums out of damage. And so he just strictly ordered that my father should protect his chrysanthemums by moving all of them into the house or garage or anywhere the roof could cover them. And even after his hard work, the whole day of his hard work on the farm, my father, after he came home from work, he had to work so hard to carry heavy chrysanthemum pots one by one into the house or garage or everywhere, and just it's like so I was little, but that action of my father seemed so pitiful. And I wondered why he told my grandfather no once in a while. I had never heard him saying to my grandfather, I didn't want to do that. He just followed my grandfather's order every time. And it's not, my grandfather's attitude was not asking or would you mind or anything like that. He just dictated. He very strictly ordered to my father. So it's move the chrysanthemums, protect chrysanthemums. ちゃんとやっとけよ in Japanese. And so it was a mystery for me why my father ever talked back to my grandfather or said no or got angry with him. And speaking of anger, I was just so amazed when my grandfather didn't scold me when I carelessly damage his chrysanthemum. I broke a sprig one day. That was the first and the only time I damaged his chrysanthemum. And I was just so scared. Horrified what I should do. I even thought I had to leave the house and live somewhere else by myself. And I couldn't tell him. I just hid the broken sprig. And but I knew he would find it sooner or later. And actually, he found it pretty quickly. And he approached me and told me that you broke the sprig of that chrysanthemum, didn't you? And I said yes. And I was waiting for my execution for the death penalty. And then my grandfather told me, don't do that ever again. All right? And I said, yes. I wouldn't. I understand. I wouldn't do that again, I promise. And he went away. That was it. I wasn't scolded. I wasn't yelled by him or shouted by him. Just that was all, and I was saved. My life was saved. But thinking of his strong devotion to his own chrysanthemums, I still really don't understand why he forgave me that was the first time I thought I may have misunderstood my grandfather's character. And later on, I would find it was true. I mean, I was right. He was when I decided to leave the house, decided to be a musician and leave the house for Tokyo. Everyone in my family opposed strongly, and they told me they wouldn't allow me to do that. But my grandfather was the only one who said, "You can go." He was the one who let me become a musician like I am today. So after all, I owe my grandfather a lot. Huge. Okay, that was today's episode and my talking today. Thanks for listening. If you are interested, my other books or my songs and other my blogs or SNS, all those links are available on my website, HidemiWoods.com, HIDEMI Woods.com. And there I even have links to my merchandise of my original brand, Erizen. And there you can find the items that feature my own illustrations, my own design. So everything else, everything is on my website. So if you like, please visit there. Thanks again. I'm Hidemi Woods. Until next time, take care and be well.